This presentation is meant to be a general overview of what a committee officer may need to know to be effective in our engineering society. Everyone's situation is unique. Use what information applies to your situation. When people are placed in a leadership position, they tend to focus on what needs to be done and not who they are doing it for. Leadership at its core is about relationship. You aren't alone with the responsibilities of your committee, nor should you be. Always keep in mind that you are serving as the guide for your committee for this period of time, but you don't need to carry the full burden. To start with, unless you are leading a brand new committee, you should have a team, small though it may be. Each committee should have at the least a chair and a past chair, if not a vice chair as well. This is who you turn to work together. If your committee has a secretary, all the better. Finally, you have the ASABE staff members who interact with your committee. No committee is on their own. If you don't know who your staff representative is, you just need to ask any one of us and we can get you that information. Let's look at what will be expected of you. These expectations will be coming from your committee members. The best part is that there is nothing on this list that is overwhelming. You need to understand the society structure and where your committee fits into it. You should have some sort of plan. This can be a big picture plan or just a meeting agenda with key points for discussion. Be sure to communicate with your committee, whether it is your overall annual plan or just your next meeting time. Communication is vital so people know what is going on and what you expect of them. They joined the committee for a reason. Keep your roster updated in coordination with the staff so that all of your committee members get the memos. Finally, there are always some action plans that are decided. These need your follow-through, even if it is just to check in on occasion with someone to see how progress is coming or if they need your help. No one operates well in isolation. This is where relationship building really needs to happen with your committee members. Just as you aren't alone in leadership, make sure that people working on projects know they aren't alone either. You are the key to the relationship when you are in a leadership position, so it is up to you to do the reaching out. I have laid out what others will expect from you. Now, where do you start to prepare to meet those expectations? Your first stop should be to search out and read your bylaws. If you don't have bylaws, this should become one of your priorities as it is your guide and structure for your committee. Take some time to talk to people previously serving in your position. Here's that relationship idea again. Build those relationships whenever you can. Find out what has happened in the past and what things you may need to follow up on that are ongoing. As mentioned, have an idea of where your committee fits into the bigger picture of the society. Let's look at the society and its structure to get you started with that big picture. ASABE was founded in 1907 at the University of Wisconsin-Madison with 18 charter members from the US and Canada. Over the years, the society grew along with agricultural engineering departments at universities across North America, thus growing the membership and expanding into government and industry. As the work of the society has evolved, so has the organizational structure. Let's start with the ASABE Foundation and its Board of Trustees, and the Society Board of Trustees, two separate entities. The foundation supports awards, special initiatives, and projects for our members. The Society Board of Trustees oversees the society in general and the 4 councils of standards, publications, meetings, and membership. 3 of the councils are divided over 9 technical communities with various technical, publication, and meetings committees to support the work of our membership. Membership is divided into geographical sections and specific membership communities. They focus on students and member achievements. This slide details the various technical committees and membership communities. With more than 200 active committees and communities, you're sure to find your fit in one of these areas. As a member-led society, if there's a topic or community of interest to you, you hold the reins to get it started. Within each of the technical communities, we drill down through their structural organization. Each has an executive committee made up of elected officers and a steering committee made up of representation from all their member committees. Other standing committees are standards oversight for all standards development under the Standards and Technical Council, and most of the communities have a publications and/or program committee working under the Publication and Meetings Councils, respectively. Some of the communities have their O4 committee as publication, and some have it as program, or vice versa. As we move through the society structure or hierarchy, the communities break out into their individual committees or groups based on focus and interest, and further break down into specialty areas for technical expertise. The lower tier committees report to the next committee up, sometimes referred to as the parent committee. If the committee develops standards, reporting from the parent and subcommittees also goes to the O3 Standards Committee, as well as to the steering committee. If you, as an officer, need to report to the committee above you, make sure you include that meeting on your schedule, as well as your committee meeting, and prepare a brief report on your committee activities. It always helps to do this in writing to be included in agendas if possible, or in the minutes. Next, I want to give you a brief rundown on the resources that are available to you via the website 24/7. Staff often gets emails from members asking for information that is easily accessible to all ASABE members. One of the most important pieces of information you need after your bylaws is your committee roster. Having an up-to-date committee roster is vital to knowing who is on your committee and having current contact information. Please do not depend on the roster handed down through the past 4 chairs of your committee. People are removed from the roster per their request, or if they do not respond to requests for renewal to a committee. Accessing your roster through the website is a quick and easy way to be on top of your committee, as it's often changing rapidly. To access your roster, sign into the website, asabe.org. Select the Committee tab on the menu. From the pull-down menu, select Committee Rosters. The listing of ASABE committees is presented. Scroll to the committee of choice, select it, and see the full list and contact information. By selecting Export, you can choose the format you want and download the roster to your device. I have the short list of directions here for your reference. Select the committee rosters from the menu. Scroll to your committee, export, and save to your computer. The Publications Department has done a great job of providing as much information and direction as possible for contributors. You will also find information about the technical library here, including search guidance. Access to the technical library is also found in the quick links at the top of the page. If you don't find what you need regarding your involvement in publications, you're welcome to contact one of the staff members for assistance. You will also notice that standards information is included on the Publications tab. The Standards Department also has a lot of relevant information on both national standards and international standards. If you don't know what a standard is or how it's developed, feel free to look around. Since many committees work on standards development, information to support the committee officers can be found with the standards information under Development Committees. Some of the same information is also found in the committee's menu under Committee Management. Some of the key support information is duplicated since committees not involved with standards development wouldn't think to look there for support. On the website pages I just mentioned, Development Committees under Standards and Committee Management under Committees, you'll find a number of resources to make your leadership job a bit easier. One of the most important resources, aside from the directions on accessing and downloading your roster, is the agenda template. There are so many details to consider for annual meetings that we have tried to include just about everything that might need to be discussed. This is a guide and not everything will apply, but it is an easy enough process to delete what doesn't apply to your circumstances. As a Word document, it will automatically resize to what you need. We also have a sign-in sheet that you can modify with your committee name and print out for physical meetings. As leaders in ASABE, you have the unique opportunity to know more of what is happening in your field and with your colleagues. As I noted in the previous slide, we have provided a template for setting up your meeting agendas to help you take care of all those housekeeping needs for your committee. One of the newer additions is a request for members and society-related information that can be used in various media formats to promote our members, their work, and the society in general. Contact the ASABE Director of Communications with anything of note that you are aware of or come across in your meeting discussions or anytime during the year. Just about every ASABE committee has a communication site set up for it on the Engage platform. It is an efficient way to send out messages to your committee. After logging into the website, Engage can be accessed from the quick links at the top of the web page. Under Committees and Communities, you will see a listing of all committees you are connected to. On your mobile device, you will need to scroll to the very bottom of the main landing page to find the small link to the Engage site, should you need it via your phone or your tablet. Each committee page contains an archive of the emails sent to your committee, including any attachments for easy access. All attachments are also uploaded to the committee library. This is a quick way to find that email that you know is stashed somewhere in your files. Regarding sending emails through Engage, while there is a form that you can fill out to send an email via the website, you can also send an email to all members using the unique email listed for the committee and your own email system, Gmail or Outlook, for example. The email format is noted in the screenshot for your reference. This is the method used by staff as it is quick and easy. People think that if the email is sent from the website, it will come from an ASABE email. Actually, the email will show that it comes from you either way, as you need to be logged into the website in order to send an email through the website, which in turn is linked to your email. Sending an email through the website form doesn't make it any more official. You can also access the member list and send an email directly to an individual or reply to an email sent to the committee or directly to the sender. Each committee page also has a library feature where you can store important committee or project information. As noted, attachments are automatically added to the library where staff and members can sort them into topical folders. You can also upload documents directly. Check out the link to the video tutorials for getting started and conducting general communication. Any committee member is able to upload or download information. The only restriction seems to be that staff must create any new folders. So if you need any, just ask. Our next topic area deals with annual meeting. Most information is pertaining to technical sessions, as this is often a major topic of discussion for the technical committees. Annual meeting planning begins almost immediately following the summer meeting. Feedback is always helpful for the staff. I've listed a few items that you might want to communicate following your meeting while thoughts are still fresh. Contacting Jessica Bell directly through email and copying your assigned staff person is generally the best way to have your comments noted. Some things to consider. Did you have enough time for your committee meeting? Do you have concerns from your last experience? Was your meeting in conflict with another important event? Did your committee have a special plan for next year that needs to get on the schedule? These are some frequently asked questions that we receive regarding sessions and guest speakers, such as who makes the decisions for the technical session? What is the process for submitting technical sessions? When do you have to identify session moderators? And how do you get registration waivers for your guest speakers? For all of these, Jessica Bell is your best source of information. And finally, these are key dates to keep in mind whether you're organizing technical sessions or guest speakers for the annual meeting. These are ballpark, as Jessica may adjust these per the actual meeting date each year. Moving along, let's look at how to facilitate your meeting. You may think that this is common sense, but in my experience, even some of the most accomplished people need guidance at times. So we're going to go through some of the basics to keep in mind. Take the time to prepare yourself for your meeting. This means sitting down for 30 minutes a few weeks before your scheduled meeting to gather your information and your thoughts and plan your agenda. Most ASABE committees will meet at least once a year, often at the ASABE annual meeting. You may have noticed that a good portion of your meeting is taken up with general housekeeping, such as elections and roster maintenance or reports. Nothing says that you can't hold a short meeting separately from the annual meeting to get this work done so that your annual meeting can be used for other important topics, such as planning for a special project or event, or even presentations for professional development or discussions by your members. Here's a basic to-do list. As I noted at the beginning, have a plan. For your meeting, you will need an agenda. Communicate it to your committee, not the day before, but at least 2 weeks in advance. Looking at your current committee roster, figure out which members, officers, and representatives on your committee are expiring this year. The officer and representative positions will need to be filled during your meeting, and these actions need to be added to your agenda. You can reach out to expiring members in advance to ask if they would like to renew for another 3-year term. This process often takes time, so don't put it off. If your meeting is virtual, become familiar with the platform and even practice if you're able to. Finally, make sure you're up to date on your committee projects and with those who are responsible for them. Remember, no one works well in isolation, or if they don't feel their work is important. This should be part of those relationships you're working on, not last minute before a meeting. This also gives that person time to collect their thoughts and maybe provide a written report rather than being put on the spot during the meeting. Some basic things to keep in mind during your meeting. These are applicable in any meeting. Robert's Rules of Order are the basis for the procedures we use. Your committee bylaws will provide information on your leadership positions, on your member and observer status, on your needed quorum for voting. Regarding voting, use your roster to identify current voting members among those present to verify that you have a quorum. Not everyone present is going to be a voting member. If no quorum is present, key decisions should be balloted to the greater committee electronically, and staff can help with that. Finally, the chair generally facilitates the meeting, and if the chair is not available, they will delegate someone such as the vice chair to take care of that. So your meeting is starting and you've greeted everyone. The first thing you need to do is to verify that an appointed person is taking notes. If you have a secretary, that is the secretary's responsibility. Once that is settled, call the meeting to order. Generally, you'll start with introductions. Be sure to also have an attendance sign-in sheet circulating. I like to wait until just before starting to send the sign-in sheet around, as people are generally settled by then. For virtual meetings, we found that it is best to have people sign into the chat feature for attendance and introductions. You may need to provide some verbal direction for that, and make sure that you save it to your computer before ending the meeting. So moving on, after you've taken attendance, review and accept your past minutes. Review the proposed agenda and make any needed adjustments before beginning. Be aware of your time limitations and keep discussion on task using your agenda. If someone brings up a topic not on the agenda, you can note their concern and suggest that it may be brought up if there's time remaining after the agenda items have been addressed. Don't let that discussion be hijacked. You are in charge. Now about those minutes. Too often, the person taking the minutes includes too little or way too much information. Minutes are just a document of the facts. The most important part of the job is to pay attention. I've noted here some key points to include: place, time, date, and committee. Document in writing all of the motions. That's verbatim what the motion says. Read them back to the group to verify. Note who made the motion and who provided support. Be sure to record your result. If there's discussion, take notes on the discussion and provide a summary. When I take minutes, I tend to jot down bits of the conversation as it moves along and later summarize in the minutes when I'm typing it up. We don't need to have verbatim discussion repeated, but we also need to have some sense of what the discussion was. Once the draft minutes have been reviewed by the officers, they should be sent out via Engage to the committee members. Staff will automatically get them if posted to the Engage address. They will also be available in the library. This should ideally be done within 30 days of the meeting while memory is still fresh. It's easy to forget some of the common details of conducting a meeting when your mind is full of the next step, so I wanted to break out the steps for conducting a vote. The key step is to actually take the vote. Too often, this small detail is overlooked once someone seconds a motion. Reminder, make sure the person recording the meeting notes the result of the vote as well. So before you have a vote, identify the voting members in the room. Remember, they won't all be voting members on your committee. Your roster is necessary here. Your non-voting members may join the discussion, but may not cast a vote, may not make a motion, or second a motion. A motion is made for the committee decisions, and support is indicated with a second by another voting member. Discussion may then take place. If there's no support noted, the motion's not considered. Remember, make a summary of your discussion. Following the discussion, the documented vote is taken, and then the chair will state the outcome of the vote. The motion passes or the motion fails. Now about those rosters. These are just a few details to keep in mind regarding rosters. Every committee has a specific term of membership. Refer to your committee bylaws for the terms of membership and officers for your committee. A 3-year term is most common. If you have a new member joining your committee, their expiration would be at the end of that specified term. Do not renew a member unless you have heard from them. If they don't respond to your many emails, they will expire from the committee. They can always rejoin by contacting you and staff. Be sure to fill all open representative and liaison positions and verify that the person serving understands that they are to attend additional meetings and provide a report to the committee. In mid-September, ASABE sends the final roster to be printed, so staff has a hard deadline of September 15th to get all updates completed. I've mentioned rosters a few times. I wanted to take a moment to explain why ASABE staff, especially with the technical committees, is so insistent on getting your rosters updated. Each listing connects not only to member information, but also to committee affiliations, leadership positions, dates of those terms of office or responsibility. It is a member's history with the society. The database is also linked to the website to populate on-demand rosters and your access to the technical library for your membership download access. Each committee is linked to the ASABE Engage for that committee, which gives you access to emails, committee information, and ballots. If the information isn't accurate and current, your committee members won't get your information. I've included a few directions for what to provide the staff for your roster updates. Provide staff with the names and email addresses of all new members to your committee. This helps us to add the correct person to your roster. Provide the names and expiration dates of your officers, even if they aren't new. It provides verification for us on your leadership. Provide the names and expiration dates for all of your new representatives and liaisons. Provide the names of all committee members who are renewing or choosing to expire from the committee, as well as those expiring because they never responded to you. You don't need to provide information for members who have no changes in the current year. To wrap things up, I put together a quick checklist for referral. You'll need minutes from the previous meeting, an agenda, communicate where, when, and how you will meet, roster update. Are you expiring this year? Do you want to continue? Bylaws, if they were revised after 2014 reorganization, great. If not, you need to take care of that. Staff is happy to help. It isn't that painful. If you remember nothing else from this presentation, remember ASABE staff is always available and happy to help.